Once upon a time, in a part of Africa, there is a dark girl of 23 years named Olido. Olido is the most beautiful girl in the village. Her dark skin is so shiny that people wish to see her every day. Each day she passes by, while walking to the stream with her clay pot on her head. People looked at her in so much admiration. Her father is very proud of his daughter, but one thing worries him. His daughter is so proud of her beauty, who had rejected many suitors both rich and poor. His daughter thinks no one matches her standard. This worries her father so much, he has called her several times and advised her to choose one of the good suitors to marry, but she refuses. Several suitors come daily, but still she didn't find anyone worthy of her. Her father asked her, "Do you intend to stay in my house till you get old with your beauty? Don't you know you are ripe for marriage? My daughter, please listen to me and do what I asked you to do, for your own good. Don't make a choice that you might regret tomorrow. Both I and your mother can't stay with you forever." "Father," she replied, "nothing is going to happen to you and mother. Both of you will stay alive to see the big marriage celebration of your daughter. I have seen the most wealthy man that I know that can give you a big and massive marriage celebration which you turned down, so who else would you think that can give you that kind of marriage celebration if not the man? I am tired of this character, Olido. You better listen to me. When the consequences of your actions hit your head, remember my words." One evening, when she was cooking, her mother called her. "Olido, Olido, Olido, how many times did I call you?" Olido looked at her mother surprised. She said, "Mother, you called me 3 times. I am close to you. Why are you calling me as if I am far from you? But your behavior sounds like you are far from me." Her mother replied, "Please, my daughter, listen to me and listen to your father too. We are not going to mislead you, everything we are doing is for your own good." But she didn't listen to her mother, so her parents stopped talking to her concerning marriage issues. One day Olido is walking on the road after returning from the errands her mother sent her. When she saw a young man that his skin shone like a moon and he was wearing the most expensive and colorful robe Olido ever seen. Olido greeted him and the young man smiled at her. They exchanged glances. Olido returned home and called her mother. "Mother, I have found the man I will marry." Her mother came out and asked her to repeat what she said. Olido said, "I have found the man I will marry." Her mother danced and shake her waist little, then stop and asked Olido, "Olido, where did you find such man that stole your heart so fast? Are you sure the man is a human being?" Her mother said jokingly, "Mother, he is a human being, at least I saw him with my eyes." "Did he propose to you?" her mother asked. "Not yet, but soon he will, I'm sure of that. No one can resist my beauty," she boasted. "So he didn't propose to you and you are here dreaming of marrying him. You know in our culture girls don't propose to men. Is other way round." Mother said, "It will happen soon. I will not be the one that will propose to him, he will be the one that will propose to me," she assured. Her mother replied, "Okay." Days passed, Olido and her friends are walking to the stream and he met the young man on the way. He made her signal and she left her friends and came closer to the man. Both smiled at each other. "Can you give me some minutes?" the man asked. "Yes," Olido replied. They sat down on the big chopped log of wood. They talked for a while. The man asked for friendship and Olido accepted. After a long conversation, both of them bid each other a farewell. Olido hurriedly and her friends who had already reached the stream. They are playing in the stream, when her best friend asked her, "Who is this handsome man that stopped you on the way?" "Well, you can call him my new friend," Olido replied. "Friend? That's how it used to start." Her friend said, "But I feel the man is not from this planet, it seems he is from another world. How can a man's skin shines like a moon? I don't think he is from this village too," her friend said. Olido smiled at her friend. One early morning, a famous fisherman named Kaka is one of the great fishermen they have in the village. One early in the morning, he went to the stream to set his trap for fishing. While he was working on the net, a need came up for him to go and ease himself. After easing himself, his eyes caught something that was unusual. He decided to hide and see it well. He saw a big colorful male mermaid. The mermaid came off from the river and looked both sides. He transformed himself into a full young man and walked into the village. This makes Kaka not to talk for some days. His friends came to visit him in the evening, then he narrated the things he saw. None of his friends believed what he said. Olido and the young man started seeing each other. in a different quiet spot. Sometimes the young man will give Olido some expensive gifts like gold, pearls, and some colorful wrappers. Olido is happy with all these gifts. She fell in love with the young man and hoped to get a marriage proposal from the man. One day, Olido and the man were talking and the man brought out a silver ring and gave it to Olido. And he said, "Olido, will you marry me?" Olido is so happy with what she heard, she nodded her head several times to show she agreed and accepted the proposal. Olido reached home happily. She sat down in the front of the hut and started humming a song, and her face was bumming with happiness. She didn't notice when her mother came in. Her mother called her several times before she answered. Her mother asked her, "Olido, my daughter, what could be the reason for this happiness? Who is responsible for this happiness? I can't remember the last time I saw you so happy, like to the extent of humming a song. So tell me, what's happening?" her mother asked. "Well, mother, what I told you had happened." He brought out a silver ring and showed it to her mother. "Mother, Asa has proposed to me and I said yes." She stood up and catwalked like a royal princess and adjusted her clothes in a boasting way. "Olido, where did you meet the man you are talking about? I have never seen this type of ring before. Where did you say you know this man?" her mother asked. "Well, mother, I meet him while returning from the errands you sent me the other time," Olido replied. "What's the name of his village? Tell me his surname. Which kindred is he from?" Olido's mother asked again. "Mother, he is from our neighboring village," Olido replied. "And what of his surname?" her mother asked. "Mother, wait till you meet him, then you can ask him all the necessary questions. He is not running anywhere," Olido replied. The young man and Olido meet and the man said, "Olido is the high I will come with my people to ask your hand in marriage. I think this is the time you will tell your father about the proposal, so it will not take him unaware," he said. Looking at Olido, and waiting for her reply. "Yes, you are right. I have been waiting for you to tell me to go ahead." "All right, I will inform my parents," Olido said. In the evening, after Olido's father finished her dinner, Olido came and carried all the plates to the kitchen. Her mother is sitting beside her husband resting. Olido returned and sat beside her mother. There is a lot of tranquility in the compound. "Father," Olido called her father. Her father answered. Olido continued, "Father, I have found a man I will marry. I am ready for marriage," she said. Her father asked, "Who is the young man? How did you meet? Where is he from?" Olido answered all the questions her father asked. "Then you have to allow me to ask about the young man, but if he wants to meet me he is free to come with his people, but I will do a proper background check-up," she concluded. "All right, father," Olido said. "Remember that he can come to other market days, but he cannot come on Eek market day." Her daughter Olido nodded her head and said, "All right, father, I will let him know about that." Asa and her brothers arrived at Olido's compound. They bring many expensive gifts that you can only see in River Shore. They sat down on the wooden chair while Olido's father sat in the middle of them. He asked them some questions, which they answered. "I have heard what you have said and I know your intentions too, but I will still have a word with my daughter, so that I can hear from her too." They all agreed. After the meeting, they all left and Olido was very happy that everything went well. In the evening, her father called her and her mother. All of them sat down in front of Olido's hut. He turned to Olido and asked, "Olido," I asked again, "where did you say you met this man?" Olido answered her father, "Father, I met him when I was returning from the errands that mother sent to me." "Do you know why I am asking you these questions, again and again?" her father asked. "I know I want you to get married, but you are not going to marry this young man. There is something about the visitors we had in the afternoon. All their names they bear are the names of fishes I know. How is that? How is that possible? How can all the visitors I had bear the name of fishes? Honestly, this marriage can't happen," her father said. "I have sent an errand man to go and inquire about the young man's family. But there is no information about them. How can a full-grown man call himself Asa? I don't understand." He turned to his wife and said, "Woman, sit your daughter down and advise her. If she didn't listen to you, we might have lost her forever," he said. After some moment, he stood up and went into his hut. Olido cried through the night. She didn't sleep. Her mother came to her and advised her to listen to your father. You know your father is one of the wise men this village has. Your father cannot be mistaken concerning the suitors you get, your father is right. How can most gifts the young man gives you come in pearls? Something is not right. Please listen to us, it will be for your own good. Olido said, over my dead will I let go of man, I love him and I must marry him too. Okay, you said over your dead body. All right. Don't say I didn't warn you. From that day, Olido started misbehaving, when her parents couldn't take it. They accept the marriage proposal. One day, when Olido and Asa were walking, they met Kaka. Kaka looked at the man, and thought, is this not the man I saw at the river bank the other day? Where did Olido met this man? This man is not a human being. I will talk to Olido's father. Kaka said. In the evening, Kaka went to Olido's father, he saw him eating, he closer to him and greeted him. Kaka, this one you came to my house, I hope all is well. Olido's father said. I hope all will be well after our meeting, Kaka said. I will not waste my time and your own time too. Kaka while Olido's father nodded his head. Well, I noticed the man Olido is parading with, as her future husband, I don't think he is a human being like us. I know I don't have any proof to prove it. But I suggest you tell Olido to stay away from the man. Kaka said. Olido's father was quiet for a while, then he said, my son, this is the only issue we have in this house, Olaredi said, she can't let go of the young man. This issue has taken away the peace of this house, Olido cannot allow me to drink water and drop the cup. I will advise her for one more time, if she refuses, there is nothing I will do concerning this issue. I hope she listens to me, otherwise, she has to bear any consequence that comes out from it. After they finished their discussion, Kaka got up and said, I will be going, take care of your family. He left. Olido's father put his hands on the jaw, he was in a deep thought, that he didn't know when his wife came in. What is the matter? His wife asked. I'm worried about, I wonder the kind of spell she is on, that makes her not to listen to any of us. She is only child I had Olido's father replied. There is nothing we can do, she has bent in ruining her own life with her own hands. You have tried my husband. Let her married, Olido's mother said. They both called Olido on the same night and begged Olido to leave the man. But Olido said, she can't. Okay, get ready to be married off, her father said. Next 4 market days, Olido had a very grand wedding that people talked about for months. When Olido and her husband with her in-laws leave, they walked far, till they left Olido's village. When they are coming closer to the river, her husband asked her to go back home. And Olido asked him why he said that. Have you forgotten that we are married, or are you anxious? Olido asked. No, because we are not human, we are mermaids. He said. What do you mean by that? If you are joking, please stop it, Olido replied. Asa told her the same thing for over 4 times. But Olido continues follow him. Till they reached the river. Olido saw his in-law turning into a mermaid and jumping inside the river. Remaining between her and Asa, Olido is dragging Asa's hand, immediately Asa turns into a fish and Olido grabs her waist, and follows her into the river. Olido woke up and found herself on the other side of the river. Where he wept all through the day. She cannot see anyone besides her. In Olido's compound, Olido's mother is sitting down thinking about her Olido, when her husband comes in. After greeting her, she told her the dream she had concerning their daughter Olido. I think Olido has some kind of problem, I saw her in my dream and she is crying, her condition is not good at all. Olido's mother said. Please can you go to Olido's husband's place and found out if there is any problem. She continued. It had not been long since they got married, so going there was not a good idea. Olido's mother insists they should and see her daughter first. Fine, her husband said. For your own satisfaction, we will go there tomorrow. Olido's parents left for their in-law place so early in morning. They arrived at the place by noon. But to their greatest surprise, they didn't see anyone or even a house. The place is like a deserted place. Olido's mother threw herself on the ground and cried so much. Her husband promised her that he will get to the bottom of this. But remember, we warned your daughter. I want my daughter, Olido's mother said. They came back to their village. And Olido's father hurriedly to met Kaka. Apart from fishing, Kaka knows everything about water. When Olido's father arrived at Kaka house, he couldn't sit down or accept the seat Kaka offered. He stood up and told Kaka everything that is happening now. Please tell me what to do. She is my only child, Olido's father said. I warned you at the beginning, but what had happened, has happened. We need to find the solution. Give me 3 days to consult. Olido's father thanked him and left. Kaka came to Olido's father and told him the requirements they need to embark for the journey. In each market day, Kaka and Olido's father carried all the requirements to the river where they decree and throw all the requirements into the river. Kaka told Olido's father, tomorrow your journey will stop here, and my journey will begin that I will go with my canoe and sail to the other side of the river. If it is the will of the god, your daughter will be found alive. Olido's father, thanks Kaka left. Tomorrow morning Kaka continued his journey. He sailed day and night for 7 days and arrived at the other side of the river. He looked around and saw Olido lying unconscious. He came closer and sprinkled water on her, and she woke up. She was so tired and unkempt. Kaka carried her in his arms and put her in his boat. And both of them sail back to their village. On their way home there was a great storm and Kaka managed to keep his boat under control. The storm lasts for a while, but when they crossed the middle of the river, the storm stopped. They arrived in their village after 7 days. People who saw Olido thought they were spirits. Because her news spread like wildfire throughout the whole village. Some people that saw them followed them to their house. Immediately they arrived in their compound. Her mother saw her and hugged her. Her father came out but couldn't react. Olido came closer to her father and hugged him. Both of them cried while her mother joined them too. Olido held her parents' hands and said, now I know that not all that glitters are gold. They both unite. Days passed, and Olido started getting better. One day Kaka came to check on her. He saw her breaking the palm kernel and they exchanged greetings. They talked for a while. They become friends. Kaka starts falling in love with Olido but he doesn't know how to say it. One day, he mustered courage and told Olido his feelings. Olido smiled and said, I have feelings for you too, but you know in our culture girls don't propose to men. Yes, you are right. Kaka replied. So is it a yes to my proposal? Kaka said. Yes, I accept your proposal, Olido replied. Both of them hugged each other. Weeks later, they have a private marriage celebration, and they all live together in love and harmony.